So I just watched Pillar Talk, and it wasn't really a Pillar Talk. Towards the end, it got to be there, but they tried this quarterly release with all of their feature teams working on features every single quarter. And it was very clear with these last two patches specifically that it wasn't working. These last two patches were terrible. Features coming in while it's in PTU still. Features coming in incredibly buggy because they were doing that. And teams that are supposed to be moving on to new features still working on bug fixing the old features because they just don't have enough time. So it's clear that they tried to work out a schedule and it didn't work. So they had to come out with something to say, hey, this is why the roadmap is changing. And it's because they tried something and it didn't work. And I don't want to make excuses for Star Citizen because it's been wildly mismanaged for years, right? There's no denying that between 2015 and recently, it's the feature creep has been all over the place. It's felt incredibly mismanaged. Things all over the place. It was not good, and they attempted to get that under control with these quarterly releases, and they failed. All right. And the thing about Star Citizen, and again, I don't want to make excuses, but it's hard to avoid this excuse, is this is a one-of-a-kind game. This is something that's never been done before. So when they try to do things that work with other games, sometimes they're going to fall on their face. And with 3.5 and 3.6, they fell hard on their face. Broke their nose, broke their teeth. They came up looking like they were in a fight with Mike Tyson, right? And now they're trying to pick up those pieces and put them back together. And this is what this Pillar Talk was all about. So saying, all right, we're going to go to staggered feature work or staggered releases, saying, all right, feature team 1 works for 2 quarters, feature team 2 works for 2 quarters, but they stagger them so somebody's always putting out something every quarter, right? So what I expect from someone who doesn't like to make screenshots for Star Citizen, who doesn't just like to sit here and talk about the game, I'm someone who actually plays the game. I want to use the economy that's in the game right now. I want to bounty hunt. I want to experience the game with other players, have multi-crew gameplay. And when you're trying to smash features in, and do it and rush it, this is what we get. We get a game that doesn't work. And we get an experience that isn't fun. And if this is what their goal has been, and this is what they said with the quarterly releases, and it didn't work, okay? And this may not work too. It's just life. It's not even like Star Citizen. Like, sometimes things just don't fucking work. And again, I'm far from a Star Citizen apologist, but everything that I heard here makes sense to me because I play the game every day, and my experiences have been horrendous, and I don't want to have horrendous experiences. And I fully believe, and Aaron Roberts said this in the show, that what's there, if working, is actually really good. It's really fun. And it can be. And I've had like these little blips of really good times playing Star Citizen, but only for a very short time. And if their goal is to focus on quality of life, and they're doing everything they can and saying, hey, the roadmap's going to get jumbled up a little bit, things are going to change, here's why, I'm totally behind this. Now, let's get into the shit that I don't like. And what I don't like is that they felt that this was acceptable for a Pillar Talk. Where's Chris Roberts? Where is Chris? Why isn't he taking an hour out of his day to update the community on what's going on with his game? I don't understand. Okay? That's a big issue for me, is not seeing Chris on the show. Where's the discussion about persistence and new systems? Server-side OCS. You know, that's what we need to hear on these shows. So this was a really good segment for a Inside Star Citizen. And they did a nice little, not Q&A, but they did a post basically outlining more things and making it a little bit easier to understand on their forums. And everything seems really well thought out, really well written out. Yeah, it's like a little FAQ on their forums. And it doesn't leave too many questions about staggered releases for me, right? It seems pretty simple. I don't think that that's too hard to understand. And on top of that, next week, they're doing an episode where we can actually interact with them about the pillars and about, like, they're going to take our questions and we're going to talk to them. So this was the segment that led us to say, okay, here are the questions that we have, and then they're going to answer them next week. So I don't really have too many issues with anything here. It's just, this isn't pillar talk. This is a segment on Inside Star Citizen. So I have no issues with anything they're saying. I have definitely no issues with anything they're doing. And I think it just comes down to this wild disconnection with what their video production team thinks we want versus what we actually want. Right? It just, they're super disconnected with what we actually need. It's not what we want, it's what we need. We need to be able to ask questions, and the hard questions, and we need to either hear, we're not ready to answer that question right now, is so much better than silence. So we need a lot more of that, and we need a lot more of focus on what's happening with the game's development right now. Like, whether it's a 10-second video on caves, or physical inventories, a short discussion on the discussion they had about it, even though they maybe haven't started feature work, stuff like that. So that's what I really want to see in the future. And it's just incredibly disappointing to see production value of these videos be through the roof, and the content being not up to par with the production value. And that's what they always say, is that, you know, our game looks a certain way, and we want it to our video content to be the same as that. Well, unfortunately, your game plays a certain way, and your video content does as well. So you're doing a really good job of being very in line with how your game is with your video content right now, and it's quite disappointing. So that's where I'm gonna leave my kind of thoughts on this, and I really want to hear now what you guys have to say. So just so you guys know, I'm live on Twitch right now, and having this discussion with my Twitch chat, and you guys are more than welcome to show up in the future, because I'm definitely gonna put this up on YouTube as well. Twitch.tv/SaltEMike, and yeah, so that's pillar talk for the 3.7 quarter, unfortunately.